Great. That brings us to public hearings. And Mr. Sander, I hand it over to you. I'll punch you the ball.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This evening, we have a public hearing that has been advertised on the application of BPG Newtown, Inc. That is for the seeking the approval of the Board of Supervisors for an intermunicipal transfer of a liquor license to premises in the township located at, and I'll find it here. Three West Road in Newtown, PA. That's in the Newtown Shopping Center. This evening, we have representing the applicant, Ed Taraskis, Esquire. Before we turn it over to Ed, I will mark as exhibits B for Board 1 will be a copy of the application, including all the documentation that was received by the township from the applicant, and exhibit B2 will be a copy of the proof of publication showing that notice of this evening's public hearing was published in the Advance of Bucks County on February 20th, 2022 and February 27th, 2022. Mr. Taraskis?
Good evening, members of the board. I represent BPG Newtown, Inc., which is applied to Newtown Township for the intermunicipal transfer of PLCB restaurant liquor license number R-18026 for use at 3 West Road in Newtown. And this, in the application, this license has been issued to Wagon Wheel, Inc. in Quakertown. I have with me this evening Mr. John Morrison, who is the president of BPG, and he is going to testify as to what the project entails. And Mr. Morrison?
Thank you.
Come on.
I'm the BPG Newtown. BPG stands for Blue Point Grill.
Do we want to have the witness sworn? Yeah, please. Thank you.
Absolutely. I do. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Morrison, you
Okay, so.
BPG is applying to Newtown for the intermunicipal transfer of the liquor license. Okay. And obviously the restaurant is to be constructed?
That's correct.
Okay. And this is per the plans which were submitted in the application itself?
We're in the planning stage now. It's, again, this is a little early for, we're in the midst of floor plans and mechanicals and all those things, but it's the former corner bakery site. Blue Point Grill, again, I'm a restaurateur in Princeton, New Jersey. Opened up, I'm a seafood guy. I opened up a fish seafood market over in Princeton 40 years ago, and have the Blue Point Grill. We have the Witherspoon Grill in Christine. So we've looked. I hate to tell the story, but we've looked for a long time in Newtown, and we're really excited about this. So.
Now, what is your proposed capacity for patrons, approximately?
From what we can understand, Corner Bakery had 150 people capacity inside. We won't exceed that, and we're somewhat close to it. Again, we're maneuvering around the floor plans to see what we can do.
Okay, now, will there be an interior bar?
Yes.
And what's the capacity seating?
10 to 14, it's really not a bar. We're not in the bar business. This is a place to meet someone before you go to dinner. Or maybe grab a quick bite, but it's not a big bar at all.
Okay. And you're going to have tables, seating for...
Yeah, tables I don't know, but seating.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And that's approximately what, about 140?
Well, that would be about 140, 135.
Okay. And there's going to be an outside patio with dining?
Correct.
But that's what is to be determined?
Correct. As we spoke, a couple weeks ago with an informal review from the town, and we're in the process of accommodating the questions that we had there.
And what would be the square footage inside for the serving and the kitchen?
Okay, the serving area will probably be about 3,200 square feet, and the kitchen will be 1,800.
Okay. And how many employees do you project having, full-time and part-time?
20 full-time, 20 part-time.
And will you be hiring these individuals locally?
Absolutely.
Will there be any entertainment, so to speak of?
Not nightly music, and nothing noisy, quiet jazz. We do have jazz on occasion out in the patio, but we've already, the landlord itself has restrictions on noise, and we're not there to dance. We're there to serve seafood, frankly.
And what would your hours of operation be? How many days?
7 days a week. We're asking for 11 to midnight. We're dinner only at this moment, and we probably will do that for quite some time.
And what kind of food is the menu comprised of?
15 different kinds of oysters, 25 different kinds of fish. We're in the seafood business, so it's a real fish house, frankly.
Now, will you be excuse me? Will you be serving food whenever you're open and serving alcoholic beverages?
Oh yeah.
So at this point in time, you're talking about dinner, but will you expand to the lunch trade?
Well, we're going to play it by ear. We were told in the informal meeting that the dynamics of lunch business here are a little different. So we'll find our way.
Okay. Now, do you have a projected ratio of food to alcoholic sales?
Generally, 20 to 25% of our sales, at least at the Witherspoon Grill, it's about that. Again, it's not a bar; it's a restaurant to have a drink, a glass of wine.
So you're projecting 75% food sales.
Yes.
And so basically, your sales of alcoholic beverages are to complement your food sales. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And so the food is the primary business.
Correct.
Will there be any takeout beer?
Not that I know of. I'm unfamiliar with that, but I don't foresee it. You have McCaffrey's, you have Acme. It's just not in our model.
Okay. Now, to prevent sales to minors, will BPG become RAMP certified? RAMP is the educational program of the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board, which all wise licensees become certified about, and it covers sales to minors and sales to visibly intoxicated patrons. Will you become RAMP certified?
Yes, that and ServSafe. ServSafe has its own program. It's all about compliance and safety, frankly.
Now, what type of identification cards will you accept as proof of age?
Driver's license, but I understand there's a swipe system that Pennsylvania has.
Well, so you're going to accept state photo driver's licenses?
Correct.
Okay. Now, will you obtain what is known as a transactional ID swipe machine, so you can check the cards
Yes.
before the sales of any potential youthful patrons? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I have no further questions. Any questions from the board?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question about, I'm familiar with that area, and I guess it could be appropriate to ask you about this in terms of parking. I know that it's, when the bakery was there, it was very difficult to park there.
Right.
And so I'm assuming people will have to park across West Avenue, is it West Street? West Road in the Acme area parking lot, and then they would have to cross over West Road to get to your restaurant.
That's correct.
Currently, there is no pedestrian safety features there. I mean, how do you think we should deal with that?
Well, is this the arena for it? As we had the previous informal discussion, you know that we want our pedestrians, our customers to be safe. fact that we're dinner only, we hope we won't interact. We don't have banquet hours for sure. We come in at 1 in the afternoon, open the doors at 5. So we're hoping that that's sort of a ham and egg situation. However, to the safety of the consumer and the pedestrian, it's really it's a new dynamic for us. It's certainly a busy center, but I know that I've had the assurances from the landlord that we're going to accommodate and make sure that it's safe. That beyond that, that's, as you know, that's our land use guy and all our engineering and all the people that are involved in the design of that.
So that would be brought up at a
More than happy
different
to meet
meeting.
your requirements.
May I clarify?
Hold on, we can't have two people speaking at once from
I'm sorry.
court.
Sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I was gonna ask the solicitor if there'll be another venue for us to discuss things like parking and configuration and.
Yes, I believe, and Mr. Lewis can correct me if I'm wrong, that this applicant will need conditional use approval, and it depends what they're doing to the existing building, but very possibly land development approval as well. So those general health, safety, and welfare matters will come before the board. Again, certainly tonight is just the liquor license transfer. And let me take a moment to advise the board that the board is not approving the issuance of a liquor license to this applicant. The board is merely sort of an intermediate step in saying, we're okay if you transfer the liquor license from elsewhere in Bucks County to our township, but the applicant still has to take that approval back to the Liquor Control Board, jump through all the Liquor Control Board's hoops, and obtain actual issuance of the permission to transfer that license to this location from the LCB.
Well, can I follow up? What would happen if you got that transfer of the liquor license, but you came before the board at this other meeting and we didn't approve the use? What happens?
Use of the liquor license or the use of the
What happens to
actual-
what happens to the liquor license if you cannot?
Well, from what I understand, again, I'm not understanding Pennsylvania law that, I mean, understanding it now, the process that the solicitor mentions is an 8-month process. So while this is a little premature, I still have a lot more hoops to go through to come back to you. And I'm willing to make the risk because I want it, the other thing is we're BYOB in Princeton, so we don't have a liquor license, and this Blue Point Grill works quite well. And we wrestle back and forth if we want to have a license. So this is a gamble of the cost of the liquor license, and if it's denied, then it'll be back on the market.
Well, I'm not saying if the liquor license is denied. I mean, suppose your use for this restaurant is denied by the board here, but now you have paid for a liquor license.
Okay.
What can you do if you have to transfer it again to
I
somebody
guess
else?
that's what a knucklehead entrepreneur does. Just, you've gotta, take a step, buy a ticket, so to speak.
Okay.
I'm certainly hopeful. As probably many of you know, we've been looking for a long time. We hope to really be an addition and an attraction and active in the community.
So we won't have to go to the Bonefish Grill.
No, this is a little different. We're mom and pop, frankly. It's my son,
Okay.
myself, and
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, question for you. Do you have any analysis of liquor licenses per capita in Bucks County or Newtown Township? That's something you looked into?
My client looked to see whether or not there were any licenses. I don't have an answer on the per capita, but he hired a consultant brokerage firm to try to locate a license exactly within Newtown Township, and at this point in time there was none available. So that's why he was forced to go outside the township to Quakertown to bring that license that's in Wagon Wheel into Newtown Township.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions from the board? Mr. Solicitor?
Okay, any other evidence, Mr. Draskis?
Yes, I would like to enter the exhibits which were attached to the application. to be made part of the record and entered into evidence?
Certainly, I believe we've marked as Exhibit B1 a rather large application,
Yes.
including what looks like a full lease agreement, plus some plans and other documentation. Whatever you submitted to the township when you applied has been marked and entered into the record.
I thank you. All right. And that concludes our presentation.
Okay, thank you. Any other board comments? Mr. Chairman, I think it would be appropriate to entertain, before we ask for public comment, entertain a motion to adopt a resolution, and I don't have the next number, Mr. Lewis. 2022-R-7. Approving the intermunicipal transfer of a liquor license to the property located at 3 West Road.
Do I have such a motion? I'll make that motion. Do we have a second? No second for the transfer of the liquor license? Okay.
Okay, that motion dies for lack of a second.